today with me. I have a lovely guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Alexei Samarra. We did a live one more time in the past on Margella because I'm a collector as well. So I'm a stylist. And what else can I say? We're going to discuss about styling today. So it's
Which should be
my
fun.
favorite topic.
Which should be fun. Which should be fun. Which should be fun.
Yes,
So just to kind of like jump into it ever so slightly,
yeah.
what would you say, just for the audience, like a stylist is, and what does a stylist do?
What a good stylist. Well, in general, I mean a stylist.
A good stylist.
So I would say, which is the most difficult thing. If you decide to become a stylist, I think it's very important that you have your own personal vision that you can express through clothes, which is a very challenging thing, I would say, and difficult because we have more and more images. So it makes it more and more complicated. For photographers, it's the same to create things that are very to really find an identity and to really be able for somebody to recognize that it's you when they see an image. So for me, a good stylist is somebody who has something specific to say. So he has to be authentic. He or she has to be authentic. And that requires, of course, a lot of work behind that. Of course, it's an understanding of texture, it's an understanding of materials, fabrics, color, how the market works, of course, practical aspects as well. But if we talk about the creative aspects, of course, all these things. And then I think it's a very intuitive thing, actually. Like all creative things, there is like a kind of how to say it's an intuition as well, specifically for styling. It's a very instinctive kind of thing, in my opinion. And you can see it. I mean, good stylists have that. You can really feel it in the pictures. At least I can see it very clearly when somebody is like really authentic in what they do, or when they're copying somebody else, or trying to look cool, or trying to be creative, but without really being. It's subtle things, but they are there. So that's what I would
Yeah.
say. It's a good
What
stylist.
would you say are the differences? Because of course, there's so many different types of styling. Like you can do
Yeah,
styling for like films, like costume design sort of styling. Then you can do like styling for editorials, and then styling
yeah,
for personal clients, like celebrity styling. What would you
yeah.
say are like the major differences in the way you have to think when you do those different types of styling?
Yeah, I mean, what I describe is for the more creative, like fashion styling, and the more creative aspect, like the more high end, I would say, meaning the stylists that do editorials basically, they do consulting, and then they do big campaigns. But then, of course, you have even wardrobe stylists, you have other kind of stylists. Now, if we talk about celebrity stylists, for example, in my opinion, in terms of creativity, is much, much more simple. There are many good celebrity stylists, but it requires, I guess, another kind of skill set on other levels because you're representing somebody who is known, but doesn't necessarily to be very fashion forward. It can be like it's a different approach. In my opinion, it's challenging in different ways. Maybe in terms of timing, also how fast you have to come up with things or to have to resource things. But it's not in my personal interest. Of course, I would be happy to do it as an experience that, but it's not something that I'm focused on. So a main difference, I would say, in terms of creativity, for sure, it's not the same thing at all. Very few celebrities anyway are very stylish. And very often when they are stylish, they have their own point of view, like Rihanna, Lady Gaga. These people are creative themselves. So very often I think they also know how to choose things themselves. But most celebrities, they need classic things. Then it's
Right.
more, I guess, how quickly you can do that, and how quickly you can cover this kind of things. But it's a job that's very well paid. I think one of them, like the celebrity stylists, are maybe the best paid.
Super well paid. Oh my
Yeah.
god, so crazy, crazy story, but like I know so many different like celebrity stylists, and like some celebrities, people might not know this, but they get paid insane amounts of money just to wear stuff on the red carpet. And sometimes stylists get royalties, like a percentage of the payment that the celebrity gets. So like if a celebrity wears a dress and let's say they're getting paid 400K to wear that dress, the stylist might get 10 or 20% as a fee from that. So like celebrity
Basically,
stylists,
not much.
yeah, for not doing that much work. So yeah, so celebrity stylists get paid a lot. That's why they're always fighting for clients.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
to me,
it's
I mean, it's
insane.
not like, it's interesting, but not interesting at the same time. But this is my personal opinion because I love the creative aspects of styling, the more artistic aspects of it. And then, like when you do costumes, again, it's another kind of thing, which I think there is not even styling that much anymore. It's more like when you do for, you said for films or for,
Yeah.
for films, for example, I think you need to have another kind of background in terms of education as well. A lot of
Just
clothing for
research
sure,
and yeah.
Well, I mean, as a stylist, it's good to have this kind of knowledge as well. It's good to know what, people were wearing in other centuries as well. It can give you inspiration to bring it to contemporary styling, but it's not that literal as it would be like in a film, like they're playing Victorian era or whatever era. Then you need to be very specific about it and technical. I think that's the main big difference. You don't need to be necessarily creative there, but more exact actually in what you're doing, more precise, so that you represent, how people were really dressed at the
Yeah.
time. And then it's music industry also, which is very interesting. Video clips, for example, which I find hilarious because the way the styling is done there
No,
very
no
often.
offense. The
Oh
worst I've ever seen tend to be
my,
the stylists that do music videos. They're so
yeah, of
bad.
course.
They're
Yeah.
terrible.
yeah,
They
yeah,
don't have a clue most of the time, the people that do
yeah,
music videos.
yeah. And I mean, most music videos also are not, it's very few artists take care to have beautiful styling. Like Gaga,
Yeah,
again, I will give the same example that she wore, in Abracadabra, she wore Taskins.
yeah.
This white dress that she was, and she wore matière fécale. She's wearing many young designers too, but she's an exception. Madonna was the same. I remember I was watching, that was, I think, big part of her vision. And even though she didn't have, like, she was
But
not
I
like a
think,
Mara.
do you know what it is though?
Yeah,
I just wanted to add like with Lady Gaga
yeah.
because I know Lady Gaga's stylist Tom, and he's from Belgium. He lives
Mm-hmm.
in Antwerp. He
Mm.
works a lot with the, like design students and mentors a lot of students. So he's very in touch with like new designers and like what
Yeah.
designers are coming. So it's amazing that he like relays that information to Lady Gaga and then they
Mm.
kind of work collaboratively. But that's to do with once again the kind of stylist she has that can keep in the loop with, all these designers that are coming that are really interesting. And he also comes like, for example, you just said Dyskins, Tom is from Belgium. So it's like there's that connection. So that's where like a lot of that actually comes from. So once
Yeah.
again, it's a lot of times the stylists don't get credit, but a lot of that
Ah,
is
yeah,
coming
it's a
from the
lot of yeah,
stylist.
yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, for this level of stylist, like her stylist, who's doing great work, in my opinion. But of course, the thing is, in that case, I think the artists have to be themselves also very open and creative people themselves. Otherwise, it doesn't work. The stylists by themselves, they cannot do anything. But of course, when you have a stylist who can suggest you so many things, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. Madonna was the same. Like I want to tell you, I was watching in the past. She was doing one time. I don't remember how it was called, that tour, and all the dancers and herself, they were dressed in Hermes, and it was like, the one that she was doing with the horses, and it was like a BDSM, but actually with horses, and then Stephen Klein was doing also that was like out of this, but it should be normally like this. Fashion should go together with music, but most artists
Yeah.
don't. There are very few that do that.
I don't know why, but I think it's to do with the
Yeah, me
stylist, to
neither.
be
I don't
honest.
know why. Probably
Yeah.
because many artists, they don't have that interest in fashion, or they don't have they don't, besides their music, they don't have a global vision on what visuals they want to give to the world. So I think that's the reason. They want to just look sexy, women, for example. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very limiting when it's like that.
Got some interesting questions. Someone is asking, does one's taste in style, is it in their genes?
Oh yeah.
Or is it something you learn?
No, you don't learn. I mean, you can learn many things. You don't, I mean, of course you have to study and read all you have to educate yourself. You have to be a good stylist, in my opinion, you have to be an educated person in general. Like somebody who reads not only on fashion, but who, like somebody who, because if you don't have layers in yourself as a person, what are you going to express? What are you going to talk about also? It's going to be very, how to say, more basic.
Yeah.
So definitely you need to educate yourself, because it doesn't come from a void also. You have all the images, you have to see a lot of images, visual education mostly, but then like how you are going to approach it, this is in your genes. Like this is the thing that is like, it's an intuitive thing that has to come. It comes forward. Like it comes from you somehow, and this is for me the magical thing of a good stylist.
Yeah, that's like kind of like photography. Like everyone
Yeah,
has like
exactly.
an
Yeah,
eye, and like
yeah,
yeah,
it's
some
an
people's
eye.
eyes are just better than others. It's just how it is.
Yeah, but in my opinion, curiously, there are many more good photographers than good stylists in terms of how high the level of the work can be.
True.
Not necessarily too many photographers with their own identity, because again, for photography, it's so difficult as well. So many things have been done. Like to create really an identity that resembles to nobody else, it's very challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
But certainly, yeah, it is. I think you're born
Let's
with
see.
it.
With the availability of Pinterest ideas and access to photos online, do you think celebrities depend on stylists less in relation to coordination, but more access to luxury lines? Oh, that's a good question. Because they're essentially asking, do celebrities kind of
Yeah.
have an idea of kind of what they want to look like? Because they've looked at Pinterest and Instagram, but they're just using the stylist to get access to,
I don't think they have an
you know,
idea. They are
luxury
clueless, I
brands.
think, most of the time.
Yeah, I don't. I think even when they think they have an idea, they
Yeah,
don't. Because it's like someone who comes to mind is like Drake. I remember when Drake paid. I can't remember what Instagram page it was. Just paid him loads of money to like buy him stuff, and then he just bought like the most expensive archive pieces on
yeah.
Grailed, and he had like the Ras Simmons Riot Bomb, and it was just like, it's okay to wear that, but it has to be you. It has to actually be like that.
That's the
You have to
problem,
be the kind of person that wears that. And Drake is not the Ras Simmons.
No.
Right. The kids that wear that have like Ras Simmons tattoos on their chest and stuff like that. You're not one of them. So it didn't come across authentic. So he just like was wearing like this archive helmet Lang, and it just didn't make any sense. So I think even when people think that they have an idea, I think it's just maybe they're chasing hype or something. They haven't really thought about it properly, or about what their own fashion identity is going to be and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's another thing what you say, which is very important, not for stylists, but for people who dress in general, who appreciate clothes. It's so interesting how the person who carries the clothes is so important. That's why I'm telling you, there have to be layers in the person themselves, because we can wear the same thing. And I don't know how this happens, but the energy is so different. And one can look ridiculous, and the other can, like, you can put things that nobody else would combine. But this on you, it looks fine, and it looks fantastic.
100%.
So that's it's a very personal thing in the end. So you can't just put Raf Simons and your Drake, but then you don't become suddenly fashion forward, by doing that, for sure. Yeah.
This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.